Japanese you use
every day.
Domo everyone, o genki desu ka? Yuna desu.
Nori desu. Today's video, we're going to be introducing some essential Japanese words. These words are used every single day, so don't miss out. Let's hajimemashou!
I'm really excited to learn some essential Japanese words today. Yay!
Yep, and these are definitely a must-know. So let's start off with today, yesterday, and tomorrow. So for today, it's kyo. Kyo-u, but it's pronounced kyo.
I think I've seen this kanji before. Isn't the first kanji ima, which means right now?
Right, correct. Since the first kanji is ima, which means right now, and the kanji that comes after it is nichi, which means day, by putting these two together, they become onyomi, and it's pronounced kyo, which means today. So maybe you could think of it as a literal translation to current day, which means today.
Associating it with kanji makes it a lot easier to remember.
And for an example, we might say, Kyou shiken ga arimasu. Kyou shiken ga arimasu, which translates to, I have an exam or test today. For yesterday, we say kino, kino-u, which is pronounced kino. And then alternatively, you can also say sakujitsu. Sakujitsu. Notice that the second kanji is the same as kyo for today, and only the kanji at the beginning changes to mean past. An example sentence of kino is Kino no deito tanoshikatta. Kino no deito tanoshikatta, which means yesterday's date was really fun.
Spill the tea.
No. The next one in line is tomorrow, which is ashita, ashita, ashita.
So here again, the nichi remains the same and the first kanji changes, right?
Right.
Then what does this first kanji mean?
So the first kanji of ashita comes from akeru, which means to start or to begin. So literal translation, the start of a new day, tomorrow. An example sentence might be, ashita nani o shimasu ka? Ashita nani o shimasu ka? Which means, what are you doing tomorrow? Once you realize the pattern, it's much easier to memorize it. On top of that, we have asatte, which means day after tomorrow. The kanji is very similar to ashita, but in the middle, there is a kanji which is go or ato, which means after. So overall, it's read as asatte, and it means day after tomorrow.
That's super cool. Now I kind of know why kanji is that important.
And this one's a bit tricky, but we call the day before yesterday ototoi. And this is the same as kino, but there's a 1 before the kino, which is representing the day before yesterday. The way in which you would read the kanji ototoi or asatte is very peculiar, so these are something that you should just memorize. For the example of ototoi, we might say ototoi eiga o mimashita. Ototoi eiga o mimashita, which means I watched the movie the day before yesterday.
Ototoi. Gotcha.
Now let's talk about weeks, months, and years.
Oh wow, all of them together at once?
Right, so all of these have a common pattern in the kanji, so we're going to have a look at those.
Sounds interesting.
Here are the 3 kanjis that you need to know to talk about weeks, months, and years in past, present, and future. So the first one is this one. Now you might recognize this from kyo. When this is used on its own, it's read as ima, which means now, but when it's put together with another kanji, it turns into the onyomi form, which is kon. So all you have to do is add this kanji in front of week, month, and year.
Knowing the pattern, it's much easier.
Right? So to say this week, you would say konshu, konshu. So an example sentence might be konshu asobi ni ikimashou. Konshu asobi ni ikimashou, which means we should hang out this week.
忙しいので無理かも.
Well, it was just an example, but anyway, what might the term for this month be?
This month? 今月.
This might be a little bit tricky because there are many different ways to read one single kanji. So here, tsuki means moon. But when you're talking about the different months of the year, you would use gatsu. So you have 1月, 2月, 3月. But if you're talking about this month, then you would say kongetsu. So you use getsu.
Then it is kongetsu, not kongatsu, right?
Right.
I want to give it a try for this year then.
Sure.
Is it konnen, right? Well, I mean kon just as the pattern, and then since it represents year.
Nice try, but actually the way you would read this year is an exception.
Oh, come on, give me a break now.
Yeah, the kanji is the same, which is good, but the reading is kotoshi, kotoshi, kotoshi. And also here, you would read the kanji for year as toshi instead of nen. So an example sentence of kotoshi might be kotoshi mo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Kotoshi mo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Which means looking forward to another year ahead with you. Okay, so moving on to how to say last week, last month, and last year. So all you have to do is add the kanji saki, which means before, onto the kanji for week, month, or year.
Alright, I'm confident this time, so I'm gonna give it a guess.
But be careful because the onyomi form is actually read as sen.
Then for last week, would it be senshu?
Seikai, that's right. Last week is senshu. Isn't that really easy?
Yeah. Then is last month sengetsu? And is last year sennen?
Well, perfect for last month, but last year there's another exception. Here we use the kanji saru, which means to leave. And the onyomi form, it would be read as ko or kyo. So to say last year, you would say kyonen, which means the year that has left.
Then for last year, it's not sennen, but it's kyonen.
Yep. And here's an example sentence. 去年アメリカに行きました。去年アメリカに行きました。I went to America last year. Now finally, next week, month, and year. This time there's no exceptions, so it's the easiest one.
Finally, no exceptions.
So to say next week, month, or year, we'll be using the kanji from kuru, which means to come, and the onyomi form is rai.
Then for next week, it would be raishu. And for next month, raigetsu. And for next year, rainen.
Right, exactly. So an example using next week might be 来週旅行に行きます。来週旅行に行きます which means I'm going on a trip next week. So just a quick quiz before we leave. How would you say next week in Japanese? Let us know in the comments below.
If you liked our video, don't forget to press that like button and to subscribe to our channel.
This is it for today and we'll see you in the next video.
じゃあまたね!
So maybe you could take it as the literal translation to be the current day, today.
Wow.
Wow.
That was such a bad reaction.
Wow. Oh.